Greetings everyone, hey, hi, thanks for joining me. Welcome to 2019. Sagittarius, this is your yearly forecast from February 2019 through to the very first month of 2020. There will only be one card per month, so it is a very light overview, but it gives you an idea of how to look into the future a little bit, maybe make some plans and maybe think about or contemplate directions you want to move into as the year evolves. So it's a really good idea to be able to look a little bit more long term, because when you think about it, that's exactly what we have to do when we goal set things in life, or when we set our intentions, or when we make plans or directions. So I think this is a really cool way to start the new year. It gives you, as I say, an overview and a little bit of potential insight as to how things are going to unfold. I have been shuffling a little bit beforehand with your intention, but let's just carry on doing so a little bit more. So this is for Sagittarius for the year overview with 12 cards. Let's see what's in store for them. Well, there's a great start. It was a jumper that jumped out, and we will put him for the very first card. That is for February for 2019, the Four of Pentacles. He definitely wanted to come out and have something to say. Your next card is March. It is the Ten of Wands. The next one is April, which is the Nine of Pentacles. Then we have May, which is the Lovers card. Then the next row down, we're going into June of the year, and that is the Hanged Man. The next card is for July. That is the Six of Swords. The next card is August, which is the Ten of Cups. We have a few tens already coming in here. Tens generally indicate the end of cycles, preparing for the beginning of something new. Your next one is September. That is the Four of Swords. Then we come down to October. We see another major arcana directly under this one. We have the Moon. Now we have November, another one, which is the Fool, one of my all-time favourites, very much about new beginnings. So following on from the completion of cycles into the new beginning. We have December at the end of the year, and we have the Nine of Swords. And your first card leading into 2020, good for, pondering goal setting, ambitions, moving forward, seeking to focus on directions and positives into 2020. January, you have the Nine of Wands. So you've got a nice mix here, Sagittarius. You've got a couple of nines, three nines actually, and nines are about endings as well, interestingly enough. So three nines, two tens, two sixes, or rather, two sixes, two fours, 1, 2, 3, 4 major arcanas. You've got a really interesting read here that's coming in. You've got lots of duplications of numbers. So these numbers could be relevant for you guys one way or another. Go into this with your own intuition. Always, with any reading that you ever go to view online or that you ever get personally, you must apply your own intuition and feeling into the cards as well. So it's fine to look at the overall cards and hear the messages of the reader that's giving the insights to you, but apply your own perspective, which is really, really important, trusting that gut feeling and inspiration from your own end. But I love you've got more synchronicity than I've seen in the other readings so far, with the duplication of numbers and with the tying in of certain things. But let's start up with the February, that Four of Pentacles up here. This is coming up for this next month as we merge into 2019, feeling into the groove energy of it. We've just come out of the eclipses in January. The Four of Pentacles often makes us feel as though we are a little bit anxious sometimes about our money, or we're counting it, like the old fable or nursery rhyme, the king is in his parlour counting out his money. Well, that's what that card represents. It doesn't necessarily mean you don't have money, but for some reason you might think gosh, have I spent too much, or have I overcommitted, or could I have saved somewhere else, or could I have invested my money somewhere else? Usually though, you have got this money that's somewhere, and for those of you who might find yourselves a bit short of money, perhaps you could go back in time and you might find something that you'd forgotten about, like a couple of share bonds or dividends, or maybe there's someone who could loan you some money as well, because this card quite often has that inference. Now, if you were in need of money and you went to someone like a family member or a friend for a loan, sometimes they gift it to you, but with a tie across it. They sort of say, yes, I'll give you money, but you must come and visit me every week. Sometimes there's that type of alliance associated with the money. But overall, I think the Four of Pentacles just means that the money is there for you, just to let it go a little bit more, feel into it. Don't be frightened of it. If you've got money to spare and to spend and to invest, take that leap of faith and look into how you want to invest it and where. So this can be about expanding out and broadening things out. Some of you may have felt a heart pain around your money, as if you have lost trust or faith in someone. Now, this could be like a personal friend, or it could have involved a relationship, or it could even be someone like your bank manager or your tax man or your accountant. You might have thought they haven't done you a great service this year, and that you're possibly pondering to get rid of them or move them on. All of these strategies can come into play. The next card for March, you move into March with the Ten of Wands. Now, as I said before, the tens are about endings, and in this row you've got the 10 and the 9 together, so we're heading up into those bigger numbers. Well, you've got the 4 and the 6 as well, but the 10 of Wands often says to us, you feel as though you might have been coming to the end of some sort of journey, often a creative one. So sometimes this is around your career or the things that you're passionate about in life. This card usually indicates you have learned a lot along the way, and that you become a valuable source of knowledge one way or another. Sometimes this knowledge can be imparted onto others as a gift of giving and moving forward. Other times you're taking it with you to start a new project, but it's the information that you have learned previously that becomes invaluable. So if any of you are thinking of starting something new or heading in a new direction, don't forget to take the knowledge, the ideas, the learning, the wisdom that you've picked up along your way, and take that with you. Some of you may have felt that some of these things that you've brought with you, or you've been dragging along for a while, have been hindering you, or burdensome or tiresome, but the reality is they will play a positive role in the future. So reward yourself for having come this far and having learned as much as you have, and understand that this knowledge or information or tasks or skill set are actually invaluable to other people as well. You may not understand that yet. We come to April and we see the 9 of Pentacles. She is a beautiful card. She again talks about opulence with money and feeling satisfied, happy, sated, positivity around that sector. So for some of you here, I do get the feeling that money is not necessarily an issue, or whatever money you have, you're feeling relatively okay about it. Once you get over either thinking that you wish you had more or thinking there wasn't enough, you come to sort of April and you're going, yeah, actually I'm a bit more relaxed. I'm feeling comfortable with either my salary I earn, or the job, or the way finances come into my home. And for some of you, finances may come into your home via a security check from the government, or from someone else's input, such as roommates that rent a room together and help pay your mortgage, or you might be living in a room and you help, that might be your sustainability. But there's this feeling appreciative about where you are in life, and that you're okay with however the money is spinning. She is also very social. She often tells us that there are activities or events or outings or happiness and gregariousness around social activities. So for some of you in April, you may find yourself being invited to events or hosting them or attending them or being involved in the public eye even, or in bigger groups of people where there is positivity, laughter and enjoyment. So she's a really great card in terms of happiness and the glow of life in many ways. She also bodes particularly well for health. So for a lot of you, April could see some sort of uplift in your health or a return to better health if you've had a time where you've felt a bit glitchy or weighed down. And we think of weighed down with this card here. We come to May and we see the first of your major arcanas, and it is the Lovers. Everyone loves the Lovers. It's a powerful card in many different ways because it represents beautiful harmony between two people. So it can be a romantic love, it can be a new love coming in, but for those of you who already have partners, this can be the reignition of a spark between a current relationship. It can be the sign of a soulmate coming in, or even for some of you this awakening or connection to something like a twin flame energy. So the twin flame scenario is very deep and intercombobulated. To understand it, it's more about a spiritual essence of spark than a necessary physical pairing in the relationship, although that can take place as well. The Lovers can also represent needing to make choices in life. So coming through into May with that card, there may be a point in your life where you're going, do I choose A or B? Do I stay or go? Do I start something new or continue along the same track? So this can reference new businesses for a lot of people. It can be the beginning or the heralding of a new business partnership that becomes successful and grows to become a bigger consortium or a bigger viable business. It can also be a new pet coming into your life, and the pet can be a very deep connection, sometimes a soulmate. We've noticed over the years as we're moving more into these 2000s and up to the 2020s, because of course next year we move out of the teens and into the 20s, that pets have become more and more connected to us as humans. So they, 30 years ago, pets were quite a little more distant and removed. Now we're finding more and more people being deeply affected and connected with their pets. So there's a deeper bond and love coming in. It's kind of like an opening of the heart chakra connection between us and the animal kingdom. So that can be part of the Lovers card as well. Many different meanings for many of you. Coming down to the second row in the card on the left, the Hanged Man for June. He can indicate a spiritual awakening. This is not new for Sagittarians. You can often feel this incredible connection or like vibration to the cosmos energy, to celestial energy, to the higher vibrational frequencies of life. So this could be a time when some of you are awakened to it or feel a particular pleasure, like a running through your whole body from the ground, from your feet up through the spine and through the head. You may feel this in a physical manifestation. Some of you might feel a strange senses of tingling, awareness, connection, vibration. Some of you could feel as though you need to have relief at this time, like relieve pressure. We've had a bit of talk about pressure or feeling the load of things on your shoulders. It could come back again in June, but it might be more metaphysical or emotional than literal. But for those of you who it's literal, you could do with manipulation, an osteopath, a chiropractor, some sort of spiritual or Reiki healing, light work. Any of those type of things can be beneficial. The other thing the Hanged Man can tell us is that you are reaching a crux in life where you are deciding on, do I go left or do I go right, or do I stay or do I go? So these two can be quite tied in when we talk about certain dynamics. The Hanged Man often brings us to this point of revelation in life, almost like an epiphany, where we come to the realization that something we've been doing is no longer suiting us, or it's not meeting our integrity values or our spiritual ethos, so we make this change. It's called a crossroad in life, and it may be a sudden realization, or it could be a slow one that's unfolding over time. The other thing that it can directly relate to is the fact that if you are waiting on something, such as a contract or an agreement or a job offer or, connection with someone, it can be stalled. So sometimes this means the universe has decided that it isn't going to happen at the pace you want it to. So we find ourselves waiting, and that's the other, analogy of the Hanged Man. So this could reference a period of waiting for some of you as well. We come to July, the card next to it, and it is the Six of Swords. This is known as the travel card, both in literal terms and more metaphysical. The card denotes someone in a boat with their back to us, two people actually, and they're moving from slightly rough water down here into calmer waters. So this can often be referencing that if you have been in a place of a rough patch, either emotionally, spiritually, or physically, or within relationships, you could be heading into a period where things become smoother. Now, often you take someone with you on this metaphysical journey, so you're not necessarily travelling it alone. Sometimes it can indicate when people decide to have left something behind, or, do I stay, do I go? This keeps coming back into your reading for the year 2019. There's contemplation here about leaving some things behind. We're seeing the end of cycles in your reading. So some of you are contemplating heading in a new direction. This could involve things like your work or relationships quite often. So if you are heading away, you are doing it to bring about a calmer peace of mind, or a calmer living conditions, or a calmer realization of what the future offers you. From a physical perspective, this can literally mean going on a trip. So around about this time, June or July, and these cards are a little bit, they're movable. They're not all set in stone for month by month. They'll float a little bit, pardon the pun, with the boat on the water. But some of you could be going on a trip. That could be on a boat overseas, or you could be going overseas via plane and taking quite a long excursion. For some of you this could be a holiday, and for others it could be work related, or to actually move to another country or state. If we come to the next card, which is August, it's a beautiful card to see. It's the Ten of Cups. So it's kind of diagonally connected to this 10 up here. So the 10s are energizing themselves. And the 10 also breaks down to a 1, and of course 1s are new beginnings. So traditionally the 10 of Cups recognises stability, connection, friendship, partnership, support and nurture and honour, all of the positives in life. So at this time in August you may feel some of these vibrations around you, or you may be moving into these feelings, and you may be looking at harnessing this in your life. For a lot of you there could well be some sort of really deep positive support around you from most likely a family member, which could be a spouse or a partner or a sibling or a child or a parent, or like a grandparent or an auntie. And they are there to help you. They're there to let you know that their love is all-encompassing, that it has been there for a long time. And there's also a possibility that you are the person offering this support to other people in your life. Whichever way it is, it's a mutual, as you can see by the two hands enfolding that beautiful cup, it's a mutual, positive, emotional system that is creating harmony and well-being. So it's a wonderful card to get in your reading, especially sort of through that middle of the year period. We come to September and we see the Four of Swords. So you had 3 swords in your reading, and swords are often quite analytical, and they deal with our mind. They can deal with thoughts and communication as well. The Four of Swords often talks about the need to feel as though we should take a break. Now when we take a break, we can often meditate or be in a peaceful state or go to a retreat. And when we do things like that, we contemplate what we're doing, where we're going, what we want, how to get there. So this card talks to you about all of those different dynamics. Some of you should take a small retreat or a break at this point in time. It could really benefit your overall health. And because it's kind of diagonally connected down here, these two talk a little bit about feeling a bit washed out or a bit overrun. Sometimes it could indicate, feeling as though you have got a flu, or that you may have had something like a virus and you need to recharge the batteries. Now, other times it can be referencing, like this card up here, that there is a beautiful intimate relationship going on, and that you would be going away with someone where you share very special, tender intimacy. Now, sometimes this card can also be the beginning of a conception, and that's a conception of a pregnancy sometimes. So there are a lot of different avenues this card can take on, and again, because this is such a general reading, each and every one of you will have to use your intuition to feel into the dynamic and perspective of how this card is speaking to you. And that's what I said at the beginning. A reader can tell you certain dynamics, but as an individual, when you feel into it, what is your gut feeling telling you? The other thing is, this card can represent a minor operation, sometimes a planned operation. So it's already scheduled and it's going to be booked in. So not something unexpected or sudden, but something that is required, and it's a surgical procedure to take place. We come down to the moon for October. The moon is about connecting with our feminine side, our intuitive side, seeking to be a bit more clairvoyant, a bit more psychic aware, listening to dreams, inspirations that come through that part of our life. And this card is also often talking about dreams and the night time. So for some of you, this could be towards the end of the year, a really good time to start taking note of messages that come through the psychic realm, whether they're dreams or synchronistic events or strange coincidences. These could be amazing messages for you on your journey forward as you move into the 2020 period. The moon can also suggest dealings that happen at night. Some of you might even become night workers, or something you do that really stirs you or makes you, passionate is happening at night. Activity in the darker hours of the day. There can also be water sign people involved in it, like the Cancers, the Pisces and the Scorpio people. Sometimes this can talk to us about, again, a deeper connection with our spiritual side, and these two cards are actually touching here. And we talked before about him being illuminated. His head is often in the traditional tarot showing a beautiful illuminated glow of orb light around it, and what do we have just below him? So for some of you, this could be this real powerful connection to just this enormous awakening or understanding that you can find answers for yourself within the cosmos energy. The moon can also tell us to be wary of people we don't trust, and wary of transactions and business dealings done that could be a bit shady. So be a bit aware at that time when the moon is around also. The full next door to it, which is November, looking straight into the moon there, here's more about, again, often a spiritual awakening or awareness. So these whole cluster of cards down here in this sort of triangle period seem to be suggesting like a surge of energy, like a surge of awakening, or some promise of activity or emotions activated, or something within you, about you, for you. So it's not so much about other people. This is very internal and it's very individualistic. The Fool talks to us about the need to serve yourself, the need to find yourself, the need to, find your direction and where you're heading as you move on these next chapters of life. Now, the reality is that as we've come through into the 2000s, and then the early single digits up to the 2010s, and from 10 on up to now, we've been rapidly going through so much change, all of us, at many different levels, and for everyone it's different. but the change has been quite rapid and fast. So a lot of us are left seeking this, what is the next move? How do we get there? How do we stay floating? How do we keep our heads above water? And the Fool is often the answer to that, because there's continual movement and change and expectation. And we find that from going within and becoming true to ourselves. And that's the message of the Fool. When you are true to yourself and you're answering your inner calling, which is the Fool, then you begin to know where it is you need to go and what it is you need to do to find inner happiness and peace. So he's kind of coming at a nice time towards the end of the year, when intention setting can be really powerful, and thinking about the initiation and the direction of the incoming year. So we get to December and we see a little bit of this angst here with the Nine of Swords. And sometimes that can come about when the Fool has stirred us and awakened us, because the Fool uproots what we thought we had sorted. The Fool says, no, we're going to change this all out again. We're going to leave that behind. We're going to discard that. We're going to stop believing in this. We're going to head in this new direction. For some of you, this could be new diets or new exercise regimes or a new health perspective coming in. For others, it could be a whole complete career change. For others, it could be, good God, I want to leave the country I'm living in and go and immigrate to a new country. I want to become a citizen of, Norway or something like that. For others, it could be, I want to find a new love in my life, or I want to become a Tibetan monk, or I want to start a new business. It's any of those things that the Fool does that can create this feeling of, oh my goodness, what have I done? How do I get there now that I've started it? How do I leave all the things behind that I think I'm going to leave? So this is inner tension and inner angst, the Nine of Swords. And again, it can come to us in our dreams. It can provide us with the answers that we're questioning about. It can often also mean periods of insomnia. And it can mean that you're stressed out, and again that you could be advised to slow down and take a break. So just remember that as the year winds down next year and there's new ideas and thoughts coming, pace it out, slow it down, think about it, strategize, implementate things, put them into writing, have a list, and just be at one and be peaceful and be in the moment, and use mindfulness and things like calming techniques and tapping, and breathing and yoga. All of those things help to disperse these type of energies, and they help to free up this rope that's down here. So the last month, which is the beginning of 2020, and we come in with the 9, so the two 9s together, duplicating a sort of a message. But this 9 is more about feeling confident again and regaining some sort of energy. So perhaps you did take some time out in December, or you do, and you rebirth or re-strengthen or reignite the passion and the fire, because this is your Sagittarian fire energy. And this guy is fired up and determined that what he wants he's going to get, and on he marches. So it's a great way to start the new year, with this determination and stealth and strength of energy. From a physical perspective, he's strong and ready to fight life. From a mental perspective, he's full of creative ideas and passion and insight. So it's a powerful card. Even though it doesn't look that powerful, it's a great card to start the new year, because it seems to come in with gusto and energy and design and passion and fire and warmth. You can just feel it. So overall, I think it's a really cool, as I say, very light reading. But the thing is, join me for the monthly readings and sub the channel, and you have to push the little bell to get the notifications, because my channel is not that easy to find when you just punch in something like Sagittarius February tarot reading. It seems to be going further and further down the list. My channel's suffering a little bit of I don't know, like a blockage, a restraint going on. So to get the messages coming through and to get all the uploads, you've got to push that little bell thing. And that goes a long way towards helping to keep the channel going as well, guys. So thank you all for listening and enjoying the messages, intuitively feeling into them yourself, and understanding that goal setting is really useful and important, and not to, sit here going, oh, a year away is too far. Well, how do you think people like university students, when they sign up for a course, a 3 or 5 year course, how do you think they would ever get to the end if they weren't planning the strategies? How do you think a person who's setting a goal to lose 50 or 60 or 70 kilos could ever get to the end if they don't look far enough ahead? So looking ahead can be a very good way of managing the moment that you're in many ways. So thanks again, everyone. Have a great, prosperous month and year ahead. Utilize all the messages. Come back during the year and watch it again as well. Thank you for leaving your comments. Much love, everyone. Namaste.